Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and today we are going to be doing a preliminary tier list for set 3 with all the leaders. I love doing these because I like to see how close I came looking at the format when it's already started to flesh out, develop, and see where it goes from there. So I hope you guys join me in this little video. It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna dive into my reasoning for each one. Check out the Patreon if you want some more in-depth things. I will put my list there first as I work through them. I think Jiren's gonna be the next on the list because I've kind of changed my opinion around some of them. I don't still think he has some very big holes that can be exploited by different decks in the format, but I do think that there's more to it than I was giving it credit for. So that'll be the next deck that I end up going over on my Patreon. But already we have what? Piccolo, a beginning list for Piccolo, Bardock, SS4, as well as Super Saiyan 2 Angel Goku. So we'll do Jiren, then we'll finally get around to Majin Buu, and then we'll start refining those lists, maybe even revisiting some of the old lists. So with that being said, let's get this video over 100 likes. And if you want to support the channel, you can always go down in the description, check out any of the links for Universe X, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay. So, of course, obviously, this is going to be my opinion, but I've been doing some testing. I play this game a lot, and so pretty much I just wanted to give you guys my starting parts of this. So, the first one up is Jiren, and I just talked about how that's going to be the next deck that I'm going to touch upon. I'm going to put Jiren in wild cards, and the reason why I'm going to put Jiren in wild card is because Jiren is in a very interesting place. His leader effect, along with the main master cog in the deck, the Jiren SR from set 3, they will either lock a deck out of the game or it will be laughably easy to get around. So, for instance, against Yellow, there's no way Yellow really clears that Jiren. They have to swing over it, and once per turn, he cannot be destroyed by battle. He's a base 30k too. So, high key, it's going to be fairly easy to defend that Jiren with the fact that Yellow doesn't lower power or anything. The best they can do is lock him down, but even then that allows Jiren to still use his effect as the leader. So high key, I really do think that it's going to be rough to kind of put the pressure on him. Now once you get up to turn 6, yes, you could play 6-drop Frieza, attempt to pop the Jiren to get the effect out of the way, and then turn the 40k onto the 30k and put as much pressure as you want on it to try to get rid of that Jiren. You hope their hand just doesn't have the sustainability to keep it up. But for the most part, this leader being a 25k and it being and having a card that's very hard to interact with as Yellow will probably mean that walls Yellow off completely. Then when it comes to green decks, only 2 green decks, well, I guess in this next set, as of this next set, only 3 cards in green can clear Jiren. However, again, be wary that you can do things like play Broly 8, pop Jiren, it can be killed once per turn, then you have 2 45k base swings on Jiren. So just understand that this deck doesn't necessarily stop green from playing, but it is going to make it very rough for green, especially if they have the combo power in hand with the extra cards to protect this Jiren SR. So with that being said, when you move on to blue, this deck has no chance against blue. It's like you're literally going to just get your Jiren and Topo's bottom decked if you play Topo. You're going to have to realize that your leader effect is always going to be able to be cut off at any given moment, that blue has good blue cards. And then on top of that, with cards like Gallic Gun and whatnot, blue is going to find it fairly easy to get above your 25k body. So yeah, this is just not good against blue. And then with black, it's a toss-up. There's going to have to be a lot more testing with black, but if you save your pans for the Jiren SRs, you can bounce the Jiren SR and still have a good turn to aggress around that pan. So there is going to be a certain amount of leeway that black might actually have. And then even past that, the Jiren effect is only once per turn. So if you're not stacking double, there's also a world where they're going to be able to just, have you get your effect off once and then start attacking you for like 45k and 50k and forcing you to come out of your hand regardless. So I think that Jiren is going to have some auto win matchups, but also some auto loss matchups, and that's why I'm going to put Jiren in the wild card tier. Now, you guys should probably know how I'm feeling about this. I'm going to put Goku in Budokai Tenkaichi Champion. I think that he's just excellent. I think that he is just wonderful. Realistically, he filters so hard that you're generally finding your outs. You're gonna have to do a little bit of the head math a little bit more, keeping around 7, but he's going to actually be able to just find most of his cards. He has built-in defense once he flips over. Blue is already a strong color, and it's getting some good cards coming into this next set, plus this leader to help you find all your pieces and maximize your consistency. I think he's just going to, by sheer numbers alone, be a top tier leader. With Piccolo, I'm going to put him in experimental because I am still trying to work on him along with a bunch of other decks. But the way Piccolo feels, when he gets to his late game, when you're casting special beam cannons and you still have for free with the Piccolo SR, and you still have energy open to use gigantic meteors, earth destroying Kamehamehas, or you have the Gohan secret round board, this guy has unavoidable damage. Like, your opponent can just have like 8 or 9 cards in hand, look at you and be like, yeah, I can't block that. And then you just, you know, poke him in the face with 90k or like 100k, and then you just have to go, okay, yeah, I guess. And that's crazy. That is honestly crazy. This guy forces so many cards out of hand, provides almost unavoidable damage, and it's just worse because you can keep ramping and keep using these cards for free. Yeah. However, his early game is probably, at this very moment, it feels like he exacerbates the weaknesses of green. His early game feels laughably fragile. You're running more extras than the average green deck. The Gohan SCRs don't have combo value. There's a lot of times where it feels like you're just sitting there letting your opponent attack you, and there's not really much you can do about it, which could provide very, 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 very tough hardships for go wide 20k yellow decks. So I do think that that is why I put him in the experiment tier. I'm not really seeing it right here. But I put him in the experimental list because I do think that there's room for him to grow. I know that people are starting to build, starting to test, and I want to sit down myself to make sure that his early game can't be fixed, or that I can fix his early game, because I'm enjoying his in game quite a bit. He's different from the other green leaders. Majin Buu, sorry, I'm gonna put you on unplayable. It's not that he is just awful, but there is no feasible reason to play this guy over Frieza or Yellow Vegeta. There's just not a reason to really play him over Ginu even. Like, the cards he's cheating into play are just not very impactful to the board. The Yamu, the Deborah, the Spopovich, the Yakon, none of those are really doing anything. It's like you could play out something free at the end of your turn and then hope it survives till next turn. Or Vegeta could just play out a 2-drop and then you untap 2 energy. So, like, which one are you better off doing? You know, Frieza, you can untap something or play something for 2, swing with it, and then untap it. Where's the viability? And almost everything you play in this deck could be better in another deck. The Majin Vegeta is going to do wonders in the Frieza deck. The Majin Buus are going to do wonders in the Frieza deck as well. Looking at things like Deborah and Yakon, you could play that in Frieza. If you don't want to use the Ginu package, you could just play Deborah and drop Yakon and still have at least one swing with Deborah, or a swing with Yakon and Deborah if you're trying to press aggro, and then just untap. There's literally nothing that really makes this leader stand out above the other yellow leaders, so I gotta put him there. Next, we have SS4 Goku. It's hard to tell where Black is going to be. I either have him in Budokai Tenkaichi Champions or I have him in top tier fighters. Right now, I'm going to put him in top tier fighters. Without testing and seeing how all the matchups are going to go, it's just hard for me to say he's going to be up here. What I do know is that he's got a very strong interaction with the Bardock SR. He has a very, very, very high chance of just keeping his energy marker up all game. And on top of that, he has a lot of aggression. You're going to be able to build your deck in a very, very, very modular way, because Black has a lot of toolboxy cards. You're going to be able to form your deck to best suit your needs. But on the flip side, I do feel like there is a weakness to Blue. Blue is going to be able to stop itself from getting damaged fairly early in the main game, but Blue is going to be able to tear Black's board apart. You play a Vegito, you're bottom decking something that took them a little bit to get on there. They're trying to keep up some 1-drops to combo with them off the field. You've got Zamasu 1-drops for those. They go, the Bardock into the other Bardock's crew. Okay, cool. Sickle will take care of that. Oh, we're at 4 energy. Okay, 4-drop Gohan will take care of that. Almost everything that blue has and we know will be staple will just immediately 2-for-1 black's board while being able to attack on what could be a sort of weak hand in black, because we do know that depending on your strategy, you'll be comboing a lot. So yeah, I do think that this is either at the top of top tier fighters or it's in the tier above it, but more testing will be needed to figure that out. Now Bardock, I'm going to put Bardock in top tier, but I think that Bardock and SS4 Goku are in different parts of the top tier, and I'll explain that later. Just mainly because realistically, I think Bardock limits your deck building space a little bit more. Yes, you do have the base 25 that can go higher, but you automatically have to run enough Bardock's crew. Not just Bardock's crew, you automatically have to run enough Bardock's crew with 10Ks to make his leader flip good. You also likely have to run the field card to make sure that you can stack the top 2 cards of your deck to make sure you can keep doing this. He has more deck building limitations, and he forces cards out of your hand to get his combo oriented effects off. So I actually am feeling like SS4 is the better black deck, but once again, time will tell. Let's just put top 2 right over here in unplayable. It's not even a thing. Zamasu, right? I think Zamasu has to be somewhere here in top tier fighters. The only reason why I'm going to put him over here above is because Zamasu will have all the tools that a blue deck should have, but then flips over into a 25k base, keeping him better out of aggro's reach, as well as keeping him at a base body that's just going to allow him to be a little more sticky. He's got the heal. I do think that blue naturally is going to play well into black, but on top of this, Zamasu is going to have better red matchups. And on top of that, the way yellow is currently with its 20k spam, Zamasu walls that too. So I do think that Zamasu is going to gain a good matchup, and it's not going to necessarily gain any more bad matchups next set. So I'm going to put him in top tier fighters. Now when it comes to Cell, right? Cell is in the I guess category. It's the reason why I'm going to put him in I guess, and you're going to see a trend with green, is because green now has multiple, in my opinion, bad matchups. If you go up against red, you're likely not going to have a good time, and it can depend on what kind of red you see. Beerus is probably the slowest red that they're going to be able to talk about right now. Jiren will provide many fields that are just not savory for you as a Cell player. And when you face Gohan, that could be potentially a little slower too, depending on the build they run. But then you also could face, red can also, sorry, I was talking about red. Yeah, Jiren is going to provide some really nasty boards. U7 Goku is going to be fast, and it gains a really, really pivotal card in this set. Beerus is going to be slow enough for green to maybe get its legs up. And I think that that's kind of a thing that you have to understand. Green can still be outsped by red. Green has a notoriously bad matchup against Go Wide yellow, and honestly in this set I do think there is a way that yellow can just become more of a mid-range deck, but I do think that you'd be foolish to ditch some of the 20k spam aspects unless the field is just full of Jiren and Zamasus. That being said, green is kind of like a play at your own risk, because you could come in and face red and be at a disadvantage depending on how fast they are. You can face yellow and be at a massive disadvantage. And now I personally do think you could even face black and get blitzed. So I do think that we are now at a space where green has not gained any favorable matchups, but green has gained a weaker matchup, or an unfavorable matchup. Now when it comes to Vegeta, I'm going to put Vegeta in top tier. The reason why I'm going to do this is because when it comes to Vegeta, well, yellow in general, yellow gained the Majin Buu, and then yellow also gained the Majin Vegeta, which is going to allow them to blow up things on a better basis. You're going to be able to blow up crucial cards in 3-drop slot, and there's quite a bit of them to go over in the format. On top of that, you're going to be able to untap for defense, and you're going to be able to ruin certain boards. Once Bardock gets going as like a deck, you will be able to 2-for-1 them with Death Ball a lot of the times. Most of these decks will be 2-for-1 with Death Balls unless they're green. On top of that, you still can run the 20k spam Ginu package, plus the Majin Buu to have some more sticky threats. And then lastly, we've got that brand new Vegeta that can sensu beam your leader. So now that that's a thing, you won't be able to get flooded by one-drop TNs from U7 Goku. You are going to have a little bit more defense versus things like Bardock. It's going to go a little wide, but it has to expend cards from his hand to really push combo. And you're going to also be able to just turn most of these leader effects into not neutral pokes versus your leader. So I do think that we are sitting here at that. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leaders and on the board, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think this is a great spot to actually just put the sponsor note, and then we will be right back. All right, y'all, taking a quick moment to shout out the sponsors for this video. First up is Mystic TCG, a store based in Missouri that sells all sorts of TCG product, even more than what you see featured here on this page. They also buy singles, collections, and prize cards, so make sure you actually catch them out in their store in Missouri at an event, or even on their Facebook, just to be able to see the events here, but also ask them what they're up to and what they're looking for in terms of vending. You can also use the code UNIXTCG to get discounts off your pre-orders as well as orders, so make sure you get your TCG product while it's hot. Then you have Eclipse Cards and Hobby based out of Texas, and if that sounds familiar, they did sponsor me with a box of Fusion World Set 1. But as you can see on this page, there is a plethora of TCG products that they are actually having for sale at their establishment. You can also even buy things that aren't just TCG products. As you can see on the screen right here, they hold their own locals, they hold their own events, and they are going out to more and more events. You can actually check their Facebook to see their schedule, as well as call and ask about their vending list. And at the checkout for their website, you can use the code UNI10X to actually get percentages off your pre-orders or your orders. So go check it out as well. And we're always up to all sorts of things in Universe X, so you can go down the description and check the link tree to find out about my other channels, my Twitch, or any other avenues that I'm creating content on. But if you want to go the extra mile, you can always go down to any description on any video and find my Amazon affiliate links. These products here will differ from video to video to cater to the audience in question, but it's just very easy to see something that you may like or be interested in, open it up and choose the style and or color that'll work for you. All proceeds will give kickbacks to the channel, so it'll be some direct support, and I'll always appreciate the help from you guys. So with that being said, let's get back to the video. Yeah, so when it comes to Mystic TCG, you'll probably see it on the screen right now. They are selling boxes and cases, although the boxes are already sold out. I advertised this and it sold out in pretty much a day, less than that. But there is one more case left as of me recording this video. So if it's still there, check out the link in the description, go over there and get your stuff today. Now, that being said, I want to let you guys know that I have renamed UniXDB just to Universe X, and I want to make it, yeah, a huge Dragon Ball channel, but I also want to be able to talk about other manga and anime that I like as well. So if you want to go over there, give that a subscribe, maybe check out some of the videos. We're going to be pumping out content on that channel very, very soon once the move is over. And with that being said, let's get back to the video. Like I said, easiest way to support the channel is just look in the description, check out some of those links and see if anything interests you. So moving forward, when it comes to U7, we're back at the set 1 decks. I'm gonna actually put U7 over here in the top tier fighters, and it's a little weird on where it's going to go here, because U7 gains, I think, 2 monstrous cards in the form of the 3-drop Goku that's going to attack and draw a card if you have a card with 30k power or more. He's always going to trigger his own ability because Goku will give him the extra 5k to boost him to 30k. On top of that, you get Sphere of Destruction, because U7 always had to sacrifice more destruction than had to sacrifice removal due to needing more space for gas. But if you're also taking a life while removing something off the board, there's definitely space for a Sphere of Destruction. That's like an auto win. So where it lies, it's going to be hard to tell. The 30k body that draws is going to be very, very good versus Zamasu. You have the 1 cost 20k, so it's probably going to have a decent build. When I was playing this, blue wasn't exactly a problem for U7. It was a problem for Beerus, in my opinion, but it wasn't exactly the same problem for U7 because U7 just had numbers that lined up with 25s and 30s more effectively. Now, that being said, I think that it's not like their defense has gotten any better, so it could be a toss-up between whether it makes it through between Bardock and this, and that's a whole thing here. I'm gonna move Vegeta up here because Vegeta with the extra cards is probably gonna have a better chance at comboing out of Bardock's medium swings, medium and low swings. His high swings are probably just gonna be obnoxious, but yeah. But I think that U7 Goku is probably around this area. You have a lot of 30k swings, a lot of 25k swings, a card that'll draw, you have a card that'll remove something and then blow up something. I think we're in here for that. Now when it comes to Beerus, Beerus is, I think, honestly gonna be a wild card. This is gonna sound weird, but hear me out. Beerus, they already had to work uphill against Blue. I think that Blue is going to be probably the strongest it has ever been come this set. And so Beerus is going to have a lot more whack matchups up the ladder. On top of that, Beerus is a green deck or a blue deck that sometimes can be slow enough, a red deck, they can sometimes be slow enough to let green stabilize. So it's not safe versus green necessarily. It has an uphill matchup versus blue. And now with the introduction of Majin Buu SR in yellow, it has targets that will never leave the board, and that's how you capitalized on yellow. You got rid of their board, and then you controlled the pace. With Buu being able to swing for 25k every turn, and then not be able to be targeted by any of Beerus's effects, you are going to have these rocks that put pressure on Beerus in their already kind of low combo power hand at times, and really potentially edge them out of the game. So I think that Beerus could do a lot of work against go wide 20k strategies. Beerus will likely be able to do a fair amount of work against Bardock, maybe even against Super Saiyan 4. Beerus could be aggressive enough to work against green, but if it has a stumble turn, green might stabilize. If it's missing a piece of removal, Bardock may overwhelm it, you know? If too many Majin Buus hit the field, they may never be able to get control of the board again. Now, I do think that Beerus has a favorable Jiren matchup because you can get around the Jiren by just minusing it down. But yeah, or not even minusing it down, perhaps you could, yeah, I think that's it, because the activate battles to deal damage, so you'd want to get rid of it, not swing into it. So I think that, yeah, I think that Beerus has a favorable Jiren matchup, but I don't think that Beerus necessarily has an auto win anymore next set due to yellow having Majin Buu. Trunks is going to be over here. I love Trunks. I love Trunks, but like I think I'm gonna put him at the I guess tier. You know, the more I think about it, unfortunately, I think I might put him at sleeve at your own risk. I think blue is a good enough color to carry Trunks, but when it comes to the leaders, I just feel like so far they're like every other blue leader right now has more merit than Trunks. Trunks is bouncing 3 or less back, but we're not getting a lot of abusable on plays, in my opinion, that make his effect just seem crazy over the top of the moon. He doesn't really have anything. He doesn't have anything leader specific that makes him better than the other green or the other blue leaders. Goku from set 3 is just drawing more, seeing more cards. Zamasu has the unique healing if you need it, but the bigger 25k body. Goku Black has still some of the highest high roll potential in the game, which only gets stronger here, and Vegeta has the 35k swings. Trunks is bouncing cards, and that's not even like the best. You're either bouncing a piece that your opponent can replay, which sometimes is okay if it's a 0 cost or it's, you know, a permanent play, not an on play, but the cards that you can abuse really just aren't that high impact in my opinion. So I do think that Trunks is blue is going to be great as a color, but Trunks is just not the best leader that you could play. Now we're going to go over to Goku Black, put him right in wild card. I think that with Goku Black being here, I'm still going to put him up here. He still has the blue tools, and that's going to potentially give him a shell that can stop low to the ground aggression, that can thwart non-Majin Buu threats in yellow, that can potentially thwart SS4, maybe even Bardock in terms of that. However, you also have the top end with Goku Black, which can still put green decks in the grave. They can still do a lot of work. You just have to see it. And sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. The deck is a lot more consistent than it used to be. It didn't really gain any help in this set, but you never know. I do think that Goku Black is just, it still has a very, very strong high roll potential. and it's also blue, and blue is in no shortage of good cards. On top of that, we now have more self-awakeners. Like, if you can find the space, the Vegeta is going to add more critical pressure. We've already seen how very strong it is for Beerus to have crit and Caulifla to have crit, but now we have Goku Black having crit along with that Vegeta having crit on 2K or on a 2-drop status that helps you self-awaken. So I do think that Goku Black is getting support even when it doesn't look like he's getting support, and it'll only help his lethality. Like, it's just it's powerful. Now we're gonna move over to green for set 1. I'm going to, not just because I'm a stan, but I'm gonna put Gohan in the tier here for wild cards. I still think he's going to get bullied fairly hard by black. I think he's going to be bullied fairly hard by red. However, green is still going to have a good matchup versus versus blue. Now, I guess here's the thing. I guess I could put it. Green is probably going to be, a lot of green is going to be in the I guess tier. I'm going to put him at the top of the I guess tier because you can still be outsped in terms of aggression by any red deck. I think Jiren's going to build more control, but by Beerus and U7 Goku, you could definitely get outsped. Probably even starter coup as well. However, I also feel like you're still losing to 20k spam, and you're probably going to have a hard time, you know, protecting yourself from these Majin Buus. You have to drop 10ks. You're probably also going to have a hard time versus black. So I think that you have 3 different colors that can potentially give you a hard time, which is why I'm still putting him in, I guess. But the reason why he's going to go over, I guess, is because the auto loss, or the very uphill battle that most green decks will have against Jiren, your 5-drop Goku can take care of. Your 5-drop Goku can just push Jiren into the energy, and then you can start attacking Jiren again without him being able to use his effect. And when you're playing something big like androids and you're backing it with like gigantic meteor, the ability to charge up to 9, play out Son Goku, put the Jiren back into their energy, and then attack or play androids, pop 2 other things, attack with androids, drop a gigantic meteor, and, you know, just hit him for that 55k. That's strong. Then you still have your leader who can go up to 35k just to close it out. Yeah, there's a lot going on with Gohan, but I think that Gohan does not have the same uphill battle that most green decks will have against Jiren, simply because of that 3-drop Goku. Androids, I'm going to put there right here, and I guess I think all black decks are going to have an inherently unfortunate matchup versus, or sorry, green decks are going to have an unfortunate matchup versus black. But once again, androids is going to struggle versus yellow. I think they're going to get outright aggressed by Bardock and probably SS4 too. Like I said, U7 Goku gets better, and that's not going to be a happy matchup for them. So you'll be feeding on blue decks, and you'll have a decent matchup versus mirrors. So yeah, but you're gaining, I think, a weaker matchup with black coming into the format. So I think that's pretty much a problem. Ginu, I'm going to say sleeve at your own risk. You still have a lot of cards, but the only thing that Ginu got specifically was the Raycoon, and the Raycoon isn't even like bossing. He helps you filter, and that's cool. The effect is kind of cute for combos. You can sacrifice him by, you know, turning to the side and untapping energy, and depending on how much energy you have tapped, like if you went into yeah, it's like if you went into Ginu Raycoon on like what, 5 energy, you would pay 3. Untap 2 going to 4, then you could tap 2 for the Raycoon, use Raycoon's effect, tap him, untap 1, and then you still have your leader swing, your Raycoon swing, your Ginu swing, and whatever other Ginu force you or Frieza force you out on the field to proc that effect. And then you can activate the Ginu effect now that you have 3 energy untapped and 2 cards in hand, and then you get the Raycoon back untapped, so you add another swing on top of your full board untap. I think that's cute, but I mean, you're still having bad matchups versus Beerus, you're having bad matchups versus Jiren, you're having bad matchups versus U7 Goku, depending on how much destruction they have. You have a terrible matchup versus Zamasu, and blue has a lot of good things, and like I said, that 7-drop Gohan will bottom deck things and then become a body that can clear more or press damage. So I think you're sleeve at your own risk. We're gonna put cooler and unplayable. It's not as unplayable as Majin Buu or this. I still think at this point you can make a pretty strong aggressive cooler list But one of the issues that we have here is that we still haven't really gained much in Cooler. If I'm not mistaken, Cooler says that you need to have, I think you untap, is it a Frieza Force? Is it a Frieza Force, or is it a 4 or less cost Frieza Force? Yep. So we haven't gained anything. We still, the best card you can play with him is still, is literally just still Cooler. So, or sorry, the 4-drop Frieza, and that's not even like a great card right now. So yeah, he hasn't really gained anything. Like that's rough. That's really rough. So yeah, I'm not really seeing that. I'm just not really seeing that at all right there. And that's unfortunate. But Cooler, maybe one day we'll get support, but for now it is not his time to shine. Now you've got Starter Coup. I'm gonna put that at sleeve at your own risk. I do think that Red is very, very, very strong. However, it's not like, well, I think Red got some good cards, but I don't really think that he capitalizes on it well enough. Top Coup is still unplayable right now, unless they do something with the ban list. U7 Goku got a very good draw engine card plus Sphere of Destruction. Jiren is the new set, and he can be a very control-based version of Red. And then you have Starter Coup, who doesn't have the interactions with that Goku that Goku does, doesn't have the backing of Jiren's archetype like Jiren does. Yeah, I just think that he's a sleeve at your risk. Vegeta, probably out here going good. You're going to be able to, if you're in the blue versus blue matchup, I do think you're going to be able to push a lot of damage because his 35k is going to demand cards from hand. You still get to run the defensive shell of blue, making your matchups better for black. You're still going to be able to trounce Jiren, trounce Beerus likely, trounce 20k based yellow, or have a good and decent matchup versus 20k based yellow matchups. I do think that Vegeta is going to be a good card. I just think that we are also at a point where you're still going to be hurt if you face green. You have a better green matchup than other blue decks, but it doesn't make you immune. Now, I'm going to say Jiren, or I'm going to say Broly right here, actually might be better than this. He's either at the top of wild cards for me, or he's at the bottom of top tier fighters. And hear me out for this. I think he's still going to have a bad matchup versus Black, the new color. But in terms of what else is going on, he has a bigger body, so he's, for the most part, going to not be hurt as much by the 20k spam. I think that Broly is, with the 7-drop Broly, he's going to have a natural out to Jiren. And yes, before with the 3-drop Goku, I didn't like, or 3-drop Vegeta in yellow, I didn't like the idea of valuing 7-cost Broly at the same height as 3-cost Goku and Gohan, because they get played at different stages of the game, and you can play around that. You know, you could play the Broly, and then that's just the end of your turn. Or you can play the Gohan and still play androids after it. But if you're trying to remove the Jiren, I think that's more than enough. Play the Broly, remove the Jiren, and now you get to take a huge swing at your opponent, while they don't have the Jiren to stop them from taking damage. So, because he's immune to the 20k spam, and he has the built-in little ramp, and we're gonna probably see a fair amount of blue next set, I think, because blue is just a good color all around, but I think it has a really good favorable matchup into black. I think that Broly will be able to feed a little bit with a little bit of luck and not seeing the wrong matchups. Then we have Frieza, and I think that Frieza is about to be obnoxious. It might even just be around here. My main thing is that once you get 2 Majin Buus on the board, you can just attack with your leader for 20k, and then attack with each Majin Buu for 25k, and then you play a blocker, play a Qui, play something, and just pass, dude. Just pass. Untap your 2 Majin Buu so they can't be touched. That's it. If you have dead cards in hand, you can just untap something else that you swung with that turn and just let it hang, because you can just discard the dead cards. I think that Frieza is going to become something a little different. I think it still has the ability to play 20k spam and just rush the crap out of any green deck with a 20k baseline. I think that you can still press blue hard, but I think that now that you have the Majin Boos and they can keep untapping, they can't even Zeno you, they can't even sickle those off the board. So you're sitting at a point where you can keep pieces on the board that can't be removed by red, can't be removed by green, can't be removed by blue, can't be removed by anything. And that's going to be a board that you can, a rock like that is going to be great. In terms of what you can do, you can probably build Frieza in a completely different way, because who needs to untap 2 energy sometimes when you can just untap 2 Majin Buu and you held up 2 energy because you didn't need to invest as hard into that turn. I think that Frieza is, I might have him a little too high on this list, but I do think that Frieza is going to be a powerhouse. So with that being said, let us go into the closing. So to round it out, I just want to let you guys understand, have you guys understand where I'm coming from looking at this. And it really is the fact that it's not just about how the deck performs, it's also about popularity. And Dragon Ball is generally a very competitive game where popularity and matchups dictate the most. However, we are having some new things come into this set. We're having the introduction of a whole new color. That color is based around recycling the shiniest card in your deck, i.e. your energy marker, which is a huge factor. And then on top of that, to round it off, the characters that are being introduced to this color are both fan favorites. SS4 Goku has a massive fan following, and Bardock has like a somehow massive cult following almost in the Dragon Ball community. These factors together are going to allow Black to be played very, very often, because people are going to want to jump on their favorite characters, jump to the newest color to hope that it shakes up the meta, and then they're going to try to make the deck as good as possible, if not break it, or just cope that it is broken. There's a lot of things about it. So with that being said, I think that its best and worst matchups are going to be huge deciding factors of how the tournament scene is. And when it comes to a good matchup, I think they're going to be exceptionally well against green. Most decks try to chip green down to 4 and then lay everything they have into it. Well, Black is able to go extremely tall when they actually assign combo power to their attacks. So I think that green is going to be in a world of hurt facing Black, because Black will be able to chip them down to 4 and then start hammering them with 45, 55k swings until they peter out of those last 4 life. Now, when it comes to worst matchups, I think it's going to be blue. Lots of things in Black right now are just 4 cost or less outside of the double striker, which means that blue is going to be able to 2-for-1 everything between Sickle and the new 4-drop Gohan while being able to push. And because of the way blue operates, it's very hard to chip them in the early game. You're going to be able to Gallic Gun and peel off your way out of swings, get your advantage back, and then keep on pushing. This is going to push blue or Black to have to waste some of their cards in hand, which may even be very, very scarce depending on the build you run and which leader you're running, to get over that. So I think in that particular way, when you look at blue already had a pretty good red matchup, blue had a decent yellow matchup, and now blue is gaining a good black matchup in my opinion. Whereas green, if you notice, I put them all in, I guess not because I think that green's bad, but because green is the exact opposite. Green already struggled against yellow. Green could struggle against fast decks like U7 that could put the aggro on. But now green's going to gain a very, very rough matchup in black in my opinion, and is going to gain a sometimes feeling like unwinnable matchup versus red Jiren. And so with more ops put into the format while they didn't gain any feeding matchups, I think that that makes green just unsafe to play. But that's just my opinion. We'll see how that lays out. So yeah, that's where most of this is. I think Frieza is up exceptionally higher because Majin Buu can be abused in it a little bit more than it can other yellow decks. I do think that between these guys doing what they do, this is the way it has influenced this. I think blue is going to be very, very strong. I think black is going to be very, very strong, but has to watch out for blue, or we're going to have to figure out how to play around it better. I think yellow is going to be a menace because now you can't just remove its field with Beerus or use board control to keep its field down. The Majin Boos are going to stick for the rest of the game. So I think that's pretty much how it is. Past that, I do want to make sure that I can practice more with Piccolo and figure out how to break that. And then also, like I said, look out on Patreon for my Jiren list. because that's the next one I'm going to be crafting. Then we'll get on the Majin Buu. Then I'll start going back and working on those decks, and I'll maybe making some updated decks for previous leaders. We're going to get into a lot of it. So stay tuned for more content. Check out the links in the description. Go over to my newly named channel, Universe X, that used to be UniXDB, and support that. It's going to be my general manga, anime, and the games that come from them channel, but it is going to have a primary focus on Dragon Ball. So make sure you hop on that. I will see you guys in the next episode, post, Patreon article, live stream, whatever, and soon I will be in a new place, new surroundings, and we will be doubling down on the content. So thank you guys, and I'll see you later.